I want to take a few minutes to talk about grace. Grace is something that is central to and deeply rooted in Christianity, and simply put, it is unmerited favor or kindness that we did not earn. So grace is God choosing to love us, not because we're particularly lovable, not because we've earned it, but because God is kind and gracious and loving. And at the heart of this belief is God creating humans to love him. So just like a key is made to unlock a door or a pen is made to write, we humans were made for a purpose. And that purpose is to live forever in close relationship with God, worshiping him, enjoying him above all else, and following his laws. And when we do this, we flourish. So the very first law that God gives us is to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Jesus reiterates this later, saying, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. But we don't get it right. We break God's law all the time. You know, if you just look around the world, you can see it's kind of a mess. So instead of loving God and loving others, we are selfish, we're proud, we hurt other people with our actions and our inactions, our thoughts, our words, we lust, we gossip, and on and on and on. And just like breaking local laws leads to consequences like paying a fine or going to prison, breaking God's law has consequences as well. And those are spiritual separation from God and death. The book of Romans puts it, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and for the wages of sin is death. So if this is where we're at, you might be wondering, what is the solution, right? We've all sinned, and if the consequence of sin is separation from God and death, how do we get ourselves back in good standing? And if you are a Christian, the answer is that we don't. We don't get ourselves out of this mess. It is God who does that. It is Jesus who did that. So this idea is contrary to all other worldviews, where your hope for salvation is based in your personal performance. Like, take Islam, for example. Your salvation depends on your good deeds outweighing your bad deeds, and also your adherence to the 5 pillars of Islam. If it is Mormonism, your salvation depends on your faith, as well as following church rules, doing good works, and then keeping temple requirements. If it is Catholicism, similarly, your salvation depends on your faith, but also your participation in sacraments, doing good works, confessing sins to a priest. So your standing with God can change based on your actions. Even in Hinduism, your hope depends on your karma, so your performance throughout different lifetimes. It's all based on your performance, and it is contrary to Christianity. Christianity is the only worldview that offers grace. So instead of God saying, I will accept you when you're good enough, I'll accept you when you're clean enough, when you have done enough, instead God is saying, I love you so much that I am going to make a way for you. I'm going to meet you where you're at. I am going to clean you. I'm going to pay the wage for your sin by dying on the cross so that you don't have to. I'm going to offer you salvation as a free gift because I love you and I want you. And this is everything. This is why Christians don't just believe that there is a God, but why they love their God, and why they're singing songs like Amazing Grace and Grace Alone all over the world every single week. It's grace that frees Christians to do good works and obey God out of gratitude for what he's done, not out of fear of the consequences. So I personally like the way that Ephesians 2 says it. It says, as for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins in which you used to live when you followed the ways of this world and of the ruler of the kingdom of the air, the Spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient. All of us also lived among them at one time, gratifying the cravings of our flesh and following its desires and thoughts. Like the rest, we were by nature deserving of wrath, but because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ even when we were dead in our transgressions. It is by grace you have been saved, and God raised us up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms in Christ Jesus, in order that, in the coming ages, he might show the incomparable riches of his grace, expressed in his kindness to us in Christ Jesus. For it is by grace you have been saved, through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. So if you're a Christian, enjoy the peace and rest that grace enables. This is what Jesus means when he says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. You don't need to burn yourselves out trying to be good enough. God already loves you. God is gracious. So for the chat, have you ever found yourself trying to earn God's approval? And what would it look like for you to just rest in his grace instead? And if you have any questions about Christianity or grace in general, you're free to put those in the comments too, and I'll do my best to respond there or in a future video. And if you would like to see future videos, you can hit the subscribe button, and I will hopefully see you next week.